Jessica Weiss,
Hello, Frank.
long time no see.
Yes, too long.
Is that a virtual background? I don't know that I've seen you in front of it. Usually you're in the common area.
Beach. No, this is a virtual background.
Oh, okay. It's gorgeous.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you are a client of mine. I've been for a long time.
Yes.
Can you share a bit about your professional background before TEDx and what prompted you to pursue a TEDx?
Sure. So and still am a consultant. I work with big companies like Fortune 500 companies, like American Express and Coca-Cola and those kinds of companies. And I would do internal projects where I would embed in the organizations and kind of teach them about helping people find more happiness at work. As part of that work, I also did a lot of speaking, but I was really interested in growing the speaking part of my business, right? So when I had come to you originally, I had said like 80% of my work was consulting and 20% of my work was speaking, and I wanted to flip that. So I thought that getting a TEDx would be a great way to let the world know that I was a speaker.
So prior to switching the 80-20, were there obstacles, challenges to your speaking career, or something holding you back from flipping that from 20% speaking?
So no, it wasn't so much holding me back. It was just that my speaking work would often come as an outgrowth of my other work rather than proactively like getting speaking on its own. So the TEDx for me was a point of credibility, a way to market myself, all of that stuff.
So what was your experience with my coaching program?
Well, it was fabulous. I really knew very little about how to get a TEDx. And you really kind of opened my eyes to the whole entire process. And frankly, pun intended, I would have been lost without you. So you kind of start, you from the very beginning to the very end, right? So you made it really easy for me to find the TEDx's. That was not something that I was going to be able to do on my own. You opened my eyes to the fact that, it's okay to travel for a TEDx. Lots of people do it. So I was like, okay, well, there's a world of possibility if I can get on an airplane to do a TEDx. So that became, a possibility for me. Then you helped me with every single application. I mean, the process honestly could not have been easier. You guided me through every single step of the way. If there was a video question, I sent it to you in advance. You gave me feedback. I redid it. And then I sent it to the TEDx folks. But every single moment, not to mention when it actually got to the talk, you helped me create the talk, you gave me feedback on the talk and all of that great stuff. So quite honestly, the entire process was made so much easier because you were part of it. And the last part is you kind of held me accountable, right? So I knew what I had to do. I did it. I knew I was seeing you every week. I had to get my work done, because I wasn't going to show up and be like, oh God, I forgot to do it. So all of those things.
Well, and I must admit that, I send out links to TEDx applications to my clients every week. But you held me accountable. If I didn't send them out on a Monday, on Tuesday, I'd get a note. Frank, where's my TEDx links? So
that's what you get for being, a hyperactive type A person.
Hey, it was perfect. That way everybody else, all my other coaching clients benefited because they,
That's right. That's very true.
So was there a pivotal moment or insight you gained during the program, some sort of epiphany, light bulb went off that influenced your presentation style or the content of the TEDx?
Well, I think that you kind of opened my eyes to the fact, I was coming in with a very particular point of view about what I wanted to talk about. So what I wanted to talk about was happiness and happiness at work. And without you, if I would have read the various themes of the TEDx's, I would have ruled like a whole bunch of them out. I would have been like, okay, I'm not that. My talk doesn't fit with that. My talk doesn't fit with that. My talk doesn't fit with that. But you were able to kind of help me mold it and change it a little bit and tweak it so that no matter the theme, not no matter the theme, but pretty much the overwhelming majority of the themes, we were able to kind of figure out a way to make what I wanted to talk about in my research work with whatever the TEDx folks wanted to put forth in their, in their showcase.
Perfect. And what was the immediate impact on your personal or maybe professional goals, your speaking goals?
Well, I have gotten work from the TEDx. So I have gotten paid speaking engagements because people have seen the TEDx and then they, have brought me into their organization. And and for me, like I said, it's a great point of credibility. It's a wonderful point for marketing. I tell people I have TEDx and they're like, ooh, so impressed. So all those things.
And I think we got you 2 TEDx talks, if I'm not
mistaken. 2 TEDx's.
Okay, last question. What do you think was the most valuable or transformative part of the entire process, from application to doing the TEDx and leveraging it?
Well, I think that you were really like the ultimate guide through the entire process, right? If I had to say, like, you were my Sherpa. If TEDx was the Mount Everest, you were the Sherpa who led me along the way in every way, shape, or form, right? So you created the path. You told me all the stuff that I needed. Ironically, you were even there at my TEDx. How that worked out was fabulous. But you were just I would have been, quite honestly, lost without you. So I credit you 100% with getting my TEDx. You are the reason I got my TEDx, for sure.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, your mom likes me too.
She does.
Because she was at the TEDx. I got to meet your mom, which I don't always get to meet the parents of my coaching clients.
She was impressed.
You Weigel.
All right.
Hey, could you share a little bit about your professional background pre-speaking in TEDx, and then what inspired you to pursue a TEDx?
Let's just start with the dancing bear at the circus, because isn't that the best setup to be a professional speaker, right, Frank?
Yes, absolutely.
My entire background, up until the last 13 years, has been in the live entertainment industry. I promoted people. I was the behind-the-scenes marketing person. I traveled the country, and I enjoyed life tremendously. When I left that world and got into family law as a divorce mediator, things were different, and I learned a lot about a whole different field. And when I met you, Frank, I was at a point where I needed to grow. I needed to build on that. And so just a number of things came together beautifully, I think. I had a podcast that I was doing, a divorce podcast. While I was doing the podcast, I met a mutual friend and contact, Nona Prather, who was giving me guests to be on my podcast. And as I learned that she booked speakers, I said, hey, I'm very interested in professional speaking. Maybe this could be a piece I add on to my divorce business. Can you tell me a little bit about it? She did, but the key, she said, is if you can get a TEDx speech, I can sell you to everybody. And here's the person I would like you to contact. He not only has done 1 million TEDx speeches, he's been a professional speaker and a comedian, and he would be probably a great match for you. And that's when I called him.
So were there any other challenges, obstacles to your speaking career as you rolled up on that conversation with Nona? Did you have any idea where to begin, or?
No, I didn't even have a topic. I had no idea what to talk about. So I thought the topics would be given to me. I didn't know that I really had to come up with my own topic. I thought, people will get to know me. And Judy, you'd be great at speaking about this. So I think the topic was the most difficult thing for me, because within the topic comes your identity, your branding, your heart, and your soul. And I don't think that comes overnight. I think that you need wonderful people around you, engaging you in conversation, engaging you in thinking about what you have to give the world that would be important to the world. And I remember you were great with this. You were really wonderful. You could go with the flow. I am a turtle when it comes to getting things done, but I'm an excellent swimmer when it comes to wanting to explore different territory. And I really marveled at you, Frank, at how I could bring up any topic and you could key into it. You could talk to me about it. And then you went immediately online and you started researching it and sending me links to support information that would be valuable to that topic. And I don't know if you remember how many topics we went through. It was quite a few. Did you almost lose it?
No, Judith, you are delight to talk to, regardless of what we're chatting about. So I look forward to A, to live chatting, and B, watching your YouTube videos. Always make me smile.
Well, thank you. Thank you. You had you were tenacious, you were flexible, you were resilient, and you were patient.
Did you find
you didn't get mad at me?
No, did not get mad. Who could be mad at you, Judith?
A lot of people who actually are.
Yeah, those are your clients. So did you find the structure helpful, starting with the applications and then the audition and then
I had no idea how to start. Well, first of all, how do you even find the gig? It starts with you had a whole list of TEDx talks everywhere around the globe that you were feeding to us, all your clients. So that was extremely helpful. And then as we read through the topics and talked to you about them to see if these were relevant to us, the vetting process was excellent. But then just filling out the submission list. So I found it daunting sometimes to fill out the admissions list, the admissions form, because I'd never structured a talk before. Looking at what the audience is going to leave with, what am I teaching them? I really had to focus on the importance of the talk and the credibility that I would have with the talk, but also the importance of the talk. Would I be reaching enough people to make this worthy of being on the TEDx stage? So I thought you were great with that. I really did. You helped me analyze and think through things a lot.
So those are the big insights. Any other pivotal moment in the process?
Oh, I'll tell you what my biggest insight was. I remember after I got the TEDx gig in Woodinville, Washington, and I'd written the speech, and I really enjoyed writing speeches for you, with you. I really enjoyed sending you my speeches to see what you would say about them, because I do love writing and you love writing, but of a divorce mediator and paralegal, but you write for the stage. So I found it invaluable working through these speeches with you. But I remember the day that I finished the speech. I was very proud of it. It came in right under 8 minutes, which was the goal. And I only got about a paragraph into the speech, and you said, "Great, you memorized it. Doesn't sound natural, doesn't flow. Now it needs to sound like a story." And that meant something to me. And I woodshed it. And I looked at videos of you and other people that are well-known speakers. And I studied how dare they in Beverly Hills on a Sunday morning? How dare they interrupt? Did you hear the motorcycle?
No.
Oh, shoot. It was huge. Okay, well, let me go back. So that day that you told me, "Judy, this is great. You memorized it. Now you actually have to tell it like a story. Now it has to be natural. It cannot come across like a rehearsed speech." And I said, I get it. I really do get it. And within that, I also realized that writing for paper is very different than writing for the stage, the spoken word on the stage. And all of that coalesced at the same time, and fortunately in the nick of time to do the speech. So I actually sounded professional and good. And by the way, I was so comfortable. I wasn't nervous at all that day. And you were there. When I hit the stage, I was so well rehearsed. And I was so well rehearsed in a way that made it a story. It was just me talking to a friend. That meant everything to me. And thank you for preparing me in that way. I really appreciate it.
Well, you're a great storyteller, so no arguing that. Was there any immediate impact from the TEDx to your professional or personal goals? Anything?
Confidence.
Oh, okay.
It's what I was sorely lacking, was confidence. And that's really strange because I've been with celebrities. I've worked in very, very high level situations, but it's always behind the scenes for other people. It was never me on stage. I was never the center of attention unless I was doing pre-interviews on TV and radio, and that was easy. I could do that, but to be on the stage exposed, no, my confidence had to be bolstered. Now, additional to me, has that influenced my professional life? I tell people I'm a TEDx speaker. When they see me on the TEDx stage on my LinkedIn site, that means everything. They are very, very impressed.
Oh,
And so, that coupled with just the direction that's right for me in the corporate, in corporate work, in other paid speaking environments, that's going to go a long way. And by the way, I am going to go out for another TEDx.
oh, who's
I
that?
know I told you I wasn't. Now I'm going to go out for another TEDx.
Oh, great. I'm on the hook again. Terrific.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to working with you on that.
Yeah, I think this is going to be great. I did. And by the way, Deborah Dupree's been wonderful.
Oh, another one of my clients.
Yes. So first of all, you introduced me. That's right.
Yep.
The other thing, I really want to say this, if I may.
You may.
I love the fact that you network your clients with each other.
Oh,
I love that. That is so cool. It shows that you're building a community amongst everybody who comes to you. So we feel like we're part of one big happy family. And the people that you know are amazing. They're highly credentialed people. I feel like a dwarf among all of them. But, with Deborah, what I realized, Frank, and this is something else we have to do together, now that I'm ready, I'm more set for pedal to the metal now that I've gone through the TEDx event, and I want to go up for another one. And then you recommended me to another event, and they accepted me, and that was even better than, the first TEDx gig. Now that I've been at those two events, I realize I need to write my speech, embody my speech before I can fill out applications that will feel a little bit more palpable and live to the reader. So it's been my thing. So I have gone on and filled out these. Thank you again for introducing me to ASFB. Everything I'm saying you've introduced me to, by the way. Okay, so you got me into this networking organization of speakers for association work, and you got Deborah Dupree in there, and then you introduced Deborah and I. And I know that a lot of people have said, just write the outline of the speech, and then once you get hired, fill it in. I can't do that. That speech has to be an extension of who I am. She helped me with that. She actually helped me with that last week.
Oh.
We started working on an outline, and since you've been with me through the sundry topics, you know what I've said to you all along. What's the umbrella topic? There's got to be an umbrella that connects all these different things that I've done. And I don't know what that is. And that it took time. And then do you remember me saying to you, we were on a coaching call. Do you remember I said, I think family. I think family connects everything. When I worked for the circus, my first big gig, it was a group of families putting on a show for other families. So it was all about family. And then when I came to Los Angeles and started working in the events business, I worked for family events, a lot of weddings, but a lot of family events. And then I went into family law. I mean, all of a sudden I just said, okay, if I'm going to be speaking to people in their workplace, which is what association work is, and then corporate work as well, what do I have to give people that would be valuable? And you really took me through these thought processes early on as well. But it takes time. I'm determined. It takes time. So all of a sudden I said, oh my God, it's family. And so, what we're doing in the corporate world is what I can do for corporate people is to show them, if you don't understand that your employees look at this job and your company as their family, one of two, you're missing the boat. Because everybody spends most of their working day hours at their companies. And if they don't feel connected like family, they're not going to perform well. So I think just that took time for me. And I appreciate just all the questions you asked me along the way to get me centered with everything. And then I had to do, the last heavy lifting was I had to come up with the idea. But I think you were fabulous. Here's something else that I wanted to tell you about that I really appreciated that you were able to do. And not everybody's able to do this. You have a good marketing head.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, you really have a good marketing head. And not everybody does. And so when we would be on our coaching calls, you would start showing me how to market myself at the same time. And I really love that you had that skill and talent, that you were able to do that. And so I watch you. Okay, so here's the cool thing. So I was with you in, I think, your third year of your coaching business, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I saw the groundwork being laid for where you are today.
Oh.
I've watched the evolution of the Frank King coaching business grow. So all the elements that you've enhanced to make it this really tight package, the expertise on LinkedIn, the layers of marketing, encouraging people to get VAs because you can't do everything yourself.
Yep.
And I've watched how you've managed time. I've watched how you can be off on your own speaking gigs, but you still keep your coaching appointment.
Yeah.
You find time to do that. I thought that was amazing that you were able to do it. That's brilliant time management. But I'm really happy that I was in on the groundwork of what this coaching business has grown to be. And it's one of the best. It's just one of the best. I've been called on by a lot of coaches, a lot, and I haven't signed up with anybody.
Well, thank you, Judith, because it's been you are a joy and a pleasure.
Thanks.
Every now and then I think to myself, I need a cup of Judicino. Yeah, it's just been that kind of. Go ahead. Oh, thank you.
No, anytime.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'm looking forward to working on the second TEDx, the second TEDx.
Yeah, like I actually looked at Taft Avenue. I said, now when's that coming up? Are they still looking at that? Because I can just drive there.
That's true.
Let's do some TEDx's where I don't have to spend several $1,000s. But that's okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Now I think I've got it down a little better. The confidence is there. I know how to structure a speech. But still, we can't work alone. We always need somebody on our side to help motivate us and move us and brainstorm with us. And I just think you're a gem, Frank. You're just a gem of a human being.
Well, thank you, Judith. I think the same of you.
Yeah. Here's what I want to say about why TEDx was important.
Okay.
Because it's a 5-star speaking experience. It's the gold standard for speakers. It's the Super Bowl for speakers. And it's the credential that beats every other credential. TEDx.
True. Perfect. So share a little bit about your professional background, going back a ways, and what specifically inspired you to pursue a TEDx talk.
My professional background started at 13 years old. I started selling pretzels, ended up selling 500,000 of them. Philadelphia soft pretzels, unique to Philadelphia. Actually, I spent a short stint in the candy business for 4 years, and then parlayed that into a title business that went national.
Oh, wait. Tell us what the name of the candy business was. I love this.
We're Not All Nuts.
Yes.
Yeah. We ended up with 5 stores in a national candy company. I did that from 18 years old to 21, and then was lucky enough to get into the title insurance business where I spent 36 years. So that's my professional background. And I always use speaking, and I always use speaking as my marketing. So I never really went out and sold my title insurance or sold candy. I basically spoke at their events and their team meetings and things like that, and ended up with a lot of business because no one else. Look, speaking's not easy. Right? It's the second worst thing in the world that people hate to do. So, I kind of started out, like the long and short, I started out as a class clown. At 8 years old, I honed my skills. By the time I was in 12th grade, I had my 10,000 hours of public speaking in. I was way ahead of the group. And, 40 years later, I find myself thinking, okay, sold my title companies. What am I going to do? And speaking was the next logical thing because I figured I needed something new to go speak about. So I entered my ring into National Speakers Association, Toastmasters, a comedy academy that taught me how to do stand-up comedy. So I ended up pretty well-rounded, and very fortunate. And I actually met you, Frank. I don't know if you remember, but it came through another speaker who I tried to hire to punch up some material for a real estate comedy night at his house.
Oh, yes.
And I think I went through 2 people, and John McGinnis, who's a friend of ours now, gave me to you.
Yep.
and you actually made my stuff, you punched it up, you made it funny. I walked in, and I wasn't looking to entertain their people at Christmas time as much as I was looking to end up with other people's title insurance work.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that was the purpose of that.
Nothing was. I use speaking as a way of differentiating myself all the way through. And my whole sale every night was, well, if I can entertain you for a half hour, 45 minutes, I can entertain your borrower. I can entertain your prospects.
Oh, okay.
So I probably had a very different feel to why I wanted to be a speaker than I wasn't really looking to be a keynote speaker. I was looking to hone skills to be able to have that chip that said, look, I did a TEDx talk. I could certainly talk to your borrower at closing if I could do a TEDx talk. Yeah, I could certainly talk to your borrowers at closing if I could do 45 minutes of material on any topic at a comedy club.
Yep.
So it's kind of where I started. It's kind of where I ended up, and here we are now.
So before joining my coaching program, were there specific challenges, obstacles you encountered in your speaking career? I mean, you already had a speaking career. You're speaking, as I recall, you would go in and speak to, say, a bunch of real estate agents. And rather than selling them, you entertained them.
Right.
And that's how you got them as clients. That's why they referred you to their clients when it came time to get title insurance in a real estate transaction.
Right.
So, but were there specific challenges making the jump from that to the comedy club or speaking on a stage somewhere or doing TEDx?
Right. Well, the biggest challenge was, we'll get to the why, but how? My biggest challenge was, I know I can speak. I know if I open my mouth up, I am engaging.
Yeah.
I know that I can sit down and write a speech. I know that I could, practice it, mentor it, and I could do my staging of it and everything else that goes along with the speech. What I didn't know were the steps, the practical steps, and where are all these little gems of wisdom hidden to go find who's doing a TEDx talk, who's allowing people to put their hat in a ring or their name in a ring and say, I would love to do this. And to make it seem like I'm not a complete neophyte that knows nothing about speaking. I'm the kind of guy, Frank, that really loves to know everything I'm talking about before I open my mouth.
Oh, okay.
That allows, it gives the impression to people that I'm kind of in their league. And I look, when you and I started with the TEDx talk, that's exactly what I was looking for. I needed to be able to talk to people that did these types of things and hired speakers, because that's not what my background was. And my father taught me at a young age, you surround yourself with people who are smarter than you, because that's where your success will come. You don't ever be the smartest person in the room, because you'll never learn anything. So I was fortunate enough to have a relationship with you kind of even before you started with TEDx.
Yeah.
And before you started with your coaching. So I was sort of like, almost like a kind of like a guinea pig.
Yeah. You were one of my earliest clients, actually.
Yeah. And we talked about a lot of things, and we probably know more about each other than I would imagine any of your other clients. But I think that the relationship has made us both better. And I know for my TED talk, we ultimately got a TEDx talk at the Rayner school there, and it went great. And in fact, as you're aware, I'm threw my hat in another ring for an upcoming one in Alabama.
Yes,
so,
and looking forward to helping you prepare for that one.
Yeah.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, the coaching program, one of the things that appealed to you was the structure, because you didn't know exactly the how. Because a lot of people don't know how do I even start. So was the structure? Right. I'm guessing the structure specifically appealed to you.
Yeah, having my number one asset being a class clown, that's not exactly a trajectory to a TEDx stage. And because my personality is sales and marketing, I'm not real good with the work, because that's not what we do, right? We create the work, and then we say to your partner or to your employees, here, I created it, go do it.
Right.
And I spent a lifetime doing that. So when it came time to do a TEDx talk, I'm like, I don't know that. I don't even, it was almost like analysis by paralysis with analysis, right? I did not know how to even put the shovel in the sand to begin the process.
Right.
So I remember, originally when we first spoke, it was, I have a talk. This is what it's about. I said, do you want me to write the whole thing? You said, no, because we don't know what it is that ultimately, if you get chosen, or not if, but when you get chosen, we don't know what their what their slant on your topic's going to be.
Yep.
So why don't we just concentrate on figuring out exactly the parameters of your speech? And then I remember you gave me like 10 different points that I needed to narrow down, that were going to be on every application, that I needed to be able to present on an application that made it look like I've done this before, and it was polished, it was professional, and it was right. And that was the reason that I started to get accepted. Look, we didn't get them all, obviously. But we don't want them all. I think the beauty of TEDx is you actually end up with the one you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
You know, you're not just put into one because, and we need a 10th speaker, throw a dart, let's go, right? No, I think that their process is incredible. And whoever does not have a coach to get through that process, I think you're really trying to step over, $100 bills to pick up pennies. It's a no-brainer, especially with, my second TEDx talk that we're looking to do is really keynote worthy.
Yeah.
Right. So I believe that, to again, pony up the money, because it's a brand new experience again, right? Every one of these is brand new. So, and I did my last TED talk, it's got to be going on 5 years from now, right? ChatGPT wasn't invented 5 years ago, right? I tell my kids I'm older than the internet. A relic. So things have changed again, which is why I'm very willing to, which is why I did pony up the money again, because I believe that I'm a $10,000 a day speaker. Mm-hmm. I believe that having 2 TEDx speeches in my bag is the result, and it's that linchpin that people are going to say, well, he can really speak. He did 2 TEDx talks. And that's the holy grail of speaking right now.
That's true.
Well, unless I could get to TED, but I'm not sure my idea is worth spreading.
Yeah, the big TED, yes.
Big T, right.
So was there a pivotal moment or insight that you gained during the program that seriously influenced your presentation style or content? I mean, was there something that, like a light bulb went off? Oh, that's what they're after.
Yeah, I think it was the time that we discussed that there's a boatload of difference between doing stand-up comedy and being used to that laugh every 6 seconds than the silence of the stage when you command it as a speaker, and there is no punchline and there is no payoff. Mm-hmm. Your payoff is in your actual wording and in your actual delivery and your actual presentation and what you're bringing to that topic.
Yeah, the content, the takeaways, the
content, right? Yeah. Right. As a comedian, didn't have to worry about that. Every 6 seconds, I heard a laugh. Every 6 seconds, my brain said, keep going. Where here, it was 18 minutes. So that light bulb was to understand when you and I discussed it and we would rehearse it, because, look, you were instrumental in helping me write that script. We'll call it a script because ultimately that's what it is, right? We started out with our bullet points and we chunked it down so I could learn it, because that's not one of my specialties, as we both knew. We figured out tips and tricks on how to do that. If you remember, you introduced me to a guy, I forget what his name was, but his book was Train Your Brain, where we could figure out how to memorize those speeches in chunks. I would have never come up with that, right? I would have never come up with that. So and that was the beauty of working with you, Frank. It wasn't only the TED. You bring so much to the table. And now when we're doing like a lot of what we're doing now, when we're dealing with perplexity, we're dealing with ChatGPT, we're dealing with all the new ways that we can gain more knowledge instantly. And your knowledge of all those things, I think, was the culmination of my light bulb, because it said, yes, you can do this. I went from you want to do this to you can do this. Yeah. I'd like to do this to you can do this. And wouldn't this be cool to we're doing it. So I think the biggest thing was the understanding of what it took to be a TEDx speaker versus being an entertainer looking for marketing and looking for an edge on the street.
So did it have any impact initially on your career or personal goals? I mean, I know you wanted to be a speaker. That was the next thing on your bucket list.
Right. And that, being a speaker, my topic ultimately didn't resonate with keynote speaking, but I've gotten numerous jobs outside of speaking that kind of took my marketing and my promise that I used to use speaking for, which was to get more opportunities, more swings at bat to, advance my career, was the same thing. Look, when I interviewed against people nationally, to become the director of a mortgage call center. One of the big things on my resume that no one else had, TEDx speaker.
Yeah.
Because what do they want from a call center guy? They want someone who can speak. They want someone who can go for 18 minutes and convince somebody of their reason that they're giving those answers, which are not always what they, in my case, the borrower, because I work for a mortgage company, what the borrower might want to hear.
Yeah.
But TED is about ideas worth spreading. So I look to spread my ideas that, for instance, my belief of running a call center, and I said to the president of the company, exactly, right? I said to the president of the company, he says, why am I hiring you to answer phone? What makes you so special? I said, I'm not answering your phone. I said, in fact, my job is to get rid of your call center altogether and to never receive an inbound. That's my goal. I said, if we can constantly work and speak to your people and speak to every one of your borrowers, as we know these issues are going to arise, our calls will drop and our customer service scores will raise. I said, to me, why you are hiring me is I am going to be the custodian of your greatest asset, the borrower. I will protect that borrower and make them your asset for the next 30 years. I can speak to them. As that came from the confidence of knowing that I can speak for 18 minutes and I said to the president of the company, with the greatest speakers in the world, then I'm just as good. And yeah, my topic may not have been right to go out there and do the keynote, but my topic is good enough to get the awareness. And it's on my LinkedIn page. And it's on my social media page. And speak to your huge, and speak to everyone above everybody else. And I believe it was because of what you and I did with TEDx.
So that would be the most valuable transformative aspect of the whole process. Was oddly in that interview, they give you the confidence to go, I want to make it so that you don't get any more inbound calls. Wait, we're hiring you to head up the call center so we won't get any inbound calls?
I can speak to them, yes. Right. And no, I'm not looking to put myself out of business. From the confidence of knowing 100,000 I can speak for 18 minutes and national average is only 8,000 with the greatest speakers in the world call center.
Oh.
And the other 92,000, they set you up for auto payment and they may go out there and do the keynote. Bill goes in, my automatic draft comes out to get knowing the awareness. You called a mortgage company. And it's on my LinkedIn page. And it's on my, so if, God forbid, now, when that fire was next to your house, right? I said, above everybody else. This business, you've got to call your mortgage company today and find out what you and I did package that I need to fill out.
So
now, here's
that would be the most valuable
I called you up proactively. I said, Frank,
or transformative aspect of the whole process.
On the other side of the street, which in Oregon's not a big deal.
Oddly, no, in that interview,
it's all the way over. It's like 40 feet away.
Giving you the confidence to go,
I go, okay, right. But let's say
I want to make it so that you don't get any more inbound calls.
Now, and tell me you want
wait, we're hiring you to head up the call center so we won't get any inbound calls?
In fact, God forbid that fire comes over, you press the button, they have the number, and your insurance is already in motion.
Oh.
If we have, that's exactly what I bring to the call center. I know that there's national average is only every borrower. We text them, we email every borrower, we let them know what's happening. The other 92 hurricanes hit in Florida. They set you up for auto payment. We say, if the hurricane hits, and this is what you need to do. You don't need to call me tomorrow. Here's what you have. No, it was this process. And again, I'm not good at this stuff. Years. But through the process of work, God forbid. Now, when that fire was next to your house, how to even find who's doing it. I said, listen, I know this business. You've got to call your mortgage company today and find out to where it's to be, to block it, to getting it back down to 18 minutes because here's a perfect example. Obviously long-winded. I called you up proactively and said, Frank, I know that fire is on the other side of the street, which in Oregon is not a big deal. Be able to it's all the way over. It's like 40 feet away. Wait, it's on the other side. There's this. I go, okay, but let's say the everyone's I get it. Call the mortgage company now. And tell them you want the water trying to stop you. You can pre-fill it out. So if in fact God forbid that fire comes over, you press the button, they have the number, and your insurance is already.
One last thing I should tell you. After you called me and told me I should call the mortgage company, ask for the draft package. I called them up.
Every borrower, we text and we email every borrower.
They've got a lot of mortgages here in Oregon. And I said, listen, guys, there's a wildfire. It's about a quarter mile away. And they said, there's wildfire in Oregon?
You don't need to call me tomorrow. Here's what
I said, you aren't aware of that? You guys have mortgages all over the state. And I mean, some of your houses may be burning at this minute. So I told them that, A, I need a draft package. B, yeah, it's happening.
To preparing me, just to take a second, speech. What would it have meant to you to blocking the relationship, to getting it back down to 18 minutes because I'm 2 days obviously long-winded. With this thing that said, God forbid a million times, to work on that whole talk together, maybe you don't have to stress about at least one less to be able to.
Oh yeah, because that's we were evacuated for 2 weeks. We were worried, what happens when the house burns down, and that would put us at the head of the line with the insurance company,
right?
Because they're going to get a lot of claims, and so if we got in early,
exactly, they're not going to get them in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, so we would have been in front of the line.
Yep.
All right, well, Glenn, it's been a pleasure working with you. I can't wait to work on the next one with you, as we are in the process of doing.
Yep, we're gonna do it all over again. But this one, we're gonna tailor this one more towards, because we didn't really do our last TEDx to be a keynote, as I said. Right?
No.
This one, I'm really looking to bring this whole, talk, which is a very, it touches on. It will be funny because I can't write it unfunny, but it's a serious talk that I think we can get into the school districts across the country.
Mm-hmm.
Because what would really happen, Frank, if Ritalin did actually kill the class clown?
Yeah, that worries me. We'll have a generation or two without comedians because they've been drugging them into obedience.
Right. The only thing I can see, Frank, is this scene in The Sleeper where we all had the light bulb walk, and every one of us are the same walking through the streets. And remember the Woody Allen movie, The Sleeper?
Yeah.
They all had the light bulb, and every one of them looked exactly like except Woody Allen. That's what it looks like. That's what the world would look like without a comedian, without a class clown.
Yeah, and I wrote a joke, I think, for you, actually. I think for this particular speech, is that thank God they didn't have Ritalin when I was a kid, because, they've been giving it to me like Tic Tacs, and I would have been, most of the day in school, I'd have been face down on my desk in a pool of my own saliva. Because...
Right, with an aid.
Yes, with an aid and a helmet.
With an aid, yep. Right.
Yeah, so, all right, man.
And it'll be fun. All right, Fran, well, listen, thanks for everything. Getting very, very excited to be able to do this all over again, especially because it'll be brand new, because we have a different path this time. So I'm really looking forward to it.
And I don't think anybody else has done anything near this.
No.
It would take 2 comedians to come up with this.
Do you happen to know one? And look, don't sell that short either, because look, you spent what, 45 or 50 years? How many years have you been a comedian?
38 years full time.
Okay, 38 years. So you're bringing a slant, and I did not shop TEDx coaches, but I can't imagine anyone brings the full dynamic of everything that you bring to a table. I can't imagine any other speaker coach. How many TEDx talks you up to? 13?
13 come November, yeah, and I've actually been accepted for 15. I had to turn 2 down because I couldn't make it because I had a paid gig that conflicted.
Right. Poor baby.
Yeah.
I was 13 TEDx talks, 38 years of being a comedian. You're so involved with everything TEDx and everything speaker oriented. I can't imagine. I couldn't imagine doing this journey with anybody else.
Oh man, you are. Thank you very much.